much, Jessica, for inviting me. Thank you all for joining me this evening. It's like a gorgeous night outside, and the Warriors are playing. So I totally value you making the choice to come hang out with me. So hopefully, the things that I can share will be useful for you as you are making career decisions, thinking about how you grow in the role that you're already at. Did you go start a company? Even just as Pam was introducing, herself and talking about all the hiring going on at Adobe, first I'll just say congratulations, being a product manager, like you are in demand. I can only imagine what your LinkedIn inbox looks like. And the product talent is in high demand, not only in Silicon Valley, but all over the world. And so part of it is you have all these different opportunities and all these different choices. And so as Jess said, when she reached out to me, I said some of the conversations that I have quite often is helping people think through, well, how do I make the choice? And when should I make the choice? And what if it's the wrong choice? Because those career decisions can feel like really big ones. And yet in our daily lives as product people, our whole mantra is like de-risk, 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 test. And so tonight I want to spend some time encouraging you to think about how to apply a product mindset to your own career so that you can really build the career and life that you are excited about and fulfilled from and having fun. So without further ado, Jess already shared a little bit about me. So I joined the Asana board. I'm the chief customer officer at Guru, which is about 110 people and growing quickly. I teach a startup class at Stanford Business School called Startup Garage. So it's all about de-risking customer development, how to build a prototype and get feedback really quickly. But probably the most important thing to know about me, I have 3 kids, one in college, one in high school, one in junior high. So we're learning a lot together at all the different stages of life, and an awesome husband who's made it all possible. So the rest of it matters less than making sure you have time in your life for what's most important, which is family and those people that you love. So how to think about career. The best career advice that I've gotten is from a friend of mine, Dushka, who is an author, a life coach, and a great PR executive. And she does all of those, and she has fun, and she loves it. And so I asked her, how do you think about and give career advice? And she said, I only give one piece of advice, which is if you think about the game we used to play when you're little and you close your eyes and someone hid something, and then as you walked towards it, they'd say, warmer, warmer, hot, hot, hot. Or if you went further away from it, you would say, colder, colder, you're getting farther away. And she said, that's all. That's my career advice. Go towards what's warm and walk away from what's cold. That totally works for her as a creative, a PR exec, an author. Us product people want like frameworks, a Gantt chart, a plan, a little bit more certainty, right? But I start with that because it is lovely advice to really listen to your heart and your gut sometimes, and to be okay that if you're in something that leaves you feeling a little more cold or around people that do, to have the courage to say, hey, this isn't working for me, and I'm going to move towards, and I'm going to test ways to get closer to the things that are warm. But since we are product people, I also have frameworks. I don't have any 2x2s tonight, though, which are some of my favorites. But I'm going to share a few other frameworks and ways to think about it. The first is thinking about stage, because stage of company does really matter to your product career and your product experience. And not all stage and size companies provide the same kinds of product opportunities. That doesn't mean there aren't product opportunities, but I wanted to start with stage just to set the framework of like how to think about different opportunities, as well as on the inside of a company, what do companies think about when they're hiring product people in different stages? Because I've been really privileged to be in a lot of these different companies, whether it was starting something or really early or a growth stage or scaling. And recruiting is one of my favorite things to do, whether I was in operations or in product. And so I've had lots of these conversations of like, we're looking for product people. And so I wanted to share that inside view as well as what you might be able to expect. So I'm going to cover kind of 4 stages. So really starting something as a product founder, early stage, so being the first product hire when the founders are looking to scale product, growth stage. So what's the opportunity as a company is growing and looking to build a product company or a product team. And then the last scaling stage. So this could be a public company, be Adobe. When I was at Zendesk, we went from growth stage to scaling. Asana is now at that scaling stage. So there's tons of product opportunity there, and it does look very different than being the first PM at an early stage company. So let's dive in. So on early stage, when you're the first PM hire, and we're actually doing this search right now at Guru, we're looking for a VP of product. The two founders have been running all of product. This is their second startup. And it is a very unique role to be the first leader of product in a product-driven, founder-led company. And I say that because so much of it then from a company's perspective is your fit with the founder. How much do you complement them? What do you bring to the table? Because they're still going to be really involved in product. Whether they're a technical person and never had any product background, or they're a business person, the product at that stage is their baby. And so walking in knowing that is really important. It doesn't mean there's not a ton of different opportunities. I think in those cases, like if I think about the calls that we're having with the recruiting company looking for the VP right now, relevant experience, has seen some of the journey. Process is a big thing we focus on, right? One reason a product hire comes in at this point is the CEO who might be driving product can't keep driving the process anymore. She is across all the different functions, or he has to kind of dive in with customers, dive in with sales. And so they can no longer spend all the time that they want on process and engineering and provide that cadence of prioritization and making decisions. So process is a big emphasis at this point. And potential to scale. We talk about that a lot with the candidates that we're seeing. Maybe they've been at a company a stage ahead of ours, but then we really ask ourselves, is it just this next stage, or is it two more stages? How much of the journey have they seen and led and built? Because obviously we want them to stay, we don't want to be doing this search in a year from now or 18 months from now. So those are all the insider view. For you, what is the benefit of joining at that early stage when, to be honest, there is a healthy amount of chaos and uncertainty? I think, one, you get a front row seat. You are there probably sitting next to the founder. You go to the board meetings. You have visibility into every aspect of the business because it's still all centered around the product, and is the product getting adopted, and are you growing and scaling? And so that function is so critical. You make a fast impact. It's not that big a team. You may be the first product person the engineering team has worked with. Being able to help manage a process, get delivery out faster, and be close to customers is really impactful. And oftentimes, the first kind of product people spend a lot of their time with customers, and you build these deep relationships, and you deeply get to understand what the pain points are, right? There's no one else. There's not a research team. There's not sometimes UX yet. Like, it's all on the product person. And you probably are also writing marketing copy and going on sales calls and doing everything else. So broadens your experience. And then and that leads to growth. And oftentimes that first product person ends up building the product team. Maybe they become the first GM of the company if it's scaling. That was something that happened at Zendesk. Our very first product manager ended up being the general manager of a couple different business units as we grew, because he knew the product and the company and the team and our customers so well. So that's a way to think about that early, should I be the first or second product person working with the founder? The growth stage, I think, starts to offer some other opportunities. So if you're thinking about joining a growth stage, and this means there's product market fit already, depending on if you're a consumer or business, there could be thousands of customers. There's good growth, and the product organization now is super critical to that strategy. And that word is really important. So at the growth stage, not only should you have mastered process, but your ability to deliver on strategy, that'll come up much more in the search process, which is, can you formulate a strategy for a product, either a product or a product line, and can you articulate that? How good are you at communicating the goals, both to customers and internal stakeholders? And the opportunity for you at this stage is is because, and the word growth, says it all. Maybe a second product line is being built out and you can lead that. Maybe you lead and grow the core business unit, which is the big revenue driver, new markets. So all of that are opportunities when you join a growth stage. At Zendesk, like that was some of the most fun opportunities for product managers, is really to come in. There's enough, like there's all these customers to go talk to. There's all this data. There's all this opportunity. And a lot of it for product folks then was sort of picking and choosing where to spend time. And so from a career perspective, you also can then build a team, go spend time in another international market. Like all of those are excellent for career development. And then the last I would say is sort of that scale opportunity. So that's maybe going into a company that is already global, already has a somewhat of an established product team. But there's still, I would say when I was at eBay, and I would say Asana is entering this phase where, again, there are new products being launched. There are customers globally already. There might be an acquisition or two, or in the case of when I was at eBay, there was like 10 in the 5 years that I was there. We went from 1,000 people to 10,000 people, bought PayPal, bought shopping.com, bought Skype. And as a product person, you are involved in so many of those decisions because you're now outlining a strategy that says, do we build, do we buy, do we partner? And so oftentimes product managers are part of due diligence teams, they're part of closing teams, they're part of integrating. Then also they are offered the first opportunity to be the GM of a new division. And that happened time and again, both when I was at eBay, when I was at Zendesk, the conversations we have at Asana. I keep looking over here when I say Asana because Alex Hood, who runs product, is here tonight, and Katie, who leads one of our big areas in product. So I keep looking over here because they are hiring and growing, just like Adobe is. And there's all these, all we talk about at the board meetings and with the leadership team is like, who are we going to tap to go build that next thing, to go launch that new market? And if we were ever to acquire a company, who would we, place in a leadership position to carry through the culture and also really make sure it becomes part of the family? And those are the conversations when I've been on a leadership team or on a board that are really the top issues that we deal with and that we talk about. So tons of opportunity to make impact and drive metrics at that scale stage. Also, if you're earlier in your career and you think, okay, well, I'm not yet ready to run a big team or be, go launch something new just yet, that's an aspiration. I think joining companies that have well-run product functions is one of the best things that you can do for your career, especially if you then go